So who else is Marquez going to fight? If Marquez is not going to fight Manny Pacquiao next, if he's not going to retire next, if he's not going to fight Tim Bradley next, like I said, those are two fighters right there that are still considered best fighters in the entire world. How can he match those two opponents? Understand this as well. One thing about that pound for pound list is other fighters are always looking for someone that's close enough in their weight on that list that they can fight, so they can put a very, very nice, impressive accolade on their resume. Right? Why do you think Martinez wants Floyd Mayweather? Why do you think Rigo wants Donaire? Why do you think Canelo wants Mayweather? Because they know that these are the fighters that the world considers the best in the world. And you have to feel sorry for some people sometimes, because sometimes you'll be pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world, and you'll see that this other guy, you're number 6 best in the world, this other guy is ranked number 2 in the world. And you want to fight him, but unfortunately, a lot of times, they're in way different weight divisions and you can't fight them. So you got to beg that person to fight. You got to talk about catch weights and all this kind of shit. And most likely it won't happen. But here Marquez has 2 opponents that are considered pound for pound the best in the world. Like I said, if I was Marquez, personally, I wouldn't take another fight with Manny Pacquiao. Why? Because it would seem perfect that series would end the way it did, right? You want people to remember that series just like it ended, with Manny Pacquiao face first on a canvas because of Marquez's right hand. If I was Marquez, that's how I would look at that fight. Okay? So that eliminates Manny Pacquiao if Marquez is thinking the way I'm thinking. The only other person the only 2 people on that pound for pound list are Floyd Mayweather. We know that ain't gonna happen because, like I said before, JM, he has never even mentioned Floyd Mayweather's name and the word rematch in the same sentence since that first fight, right? So we know that's not gonna happen. And I would give, for dumb motherfuckers who probably don't know that they're dumb on YouTube, and they probably don't know that they're being looked at as a goddamn idiot, let me give you some just words of advice. Don't send a message saying, oh man, JM would kill Floyd Mayweather in a rematch, because you lose all credibility of you knowing anything about boxing when you talk that idiotic. Okay? Like I said, JM has not even mentioned the word Floyd Mayweather in rematch in the same sentence since their first fight. And we all know he had many occasions to do it if he wanted to. No one even considers that fight because even the majority of Marquez fans, they know that fight is useless. That fight is pointless. We all know that. So JM has 3 fighters in his division that he can fight that is considered pound for pound best in the world, top 10. He's probably not gonna fight Pacquiao. He's probably not gonna fight Floyd Mayweather. Or I'm not even gonna say probably. He ain't gonna never fight Floyd Mayweather again. And I think him and Nacho made that very clear. Like I said in my last video, and you may hear it in other videos, Nacho Berestein, he said that Floyd Mayweather is the best fighter in the whole wide world. He's the best of his era, and he is the Michael Jordan of boxing. When a person calls you the Michael Jordan of anything that you do, that is high praise. Okay? So there is no reason for Marquez not to fight Bradley. Now, I will say this. I will say that I agree with some of you guys to a certain extent that I don't think that Marquez is just flat out afraid of Bradley. I think Marquez's teacher is just very smart. I think Marquez's teacher is very smart, and Marquez and Nacho, he can see the intelligence, the science of the sport of boxing. And believe it or not, Nacho, he knows the sport. He knows the sweet science. And Nacho, he knows that Bradley is just as good as I believe he is. He knows he's just as good as Bob Arum believes that he is, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I'm really trying my best not to respond to dumbasses on YouTube anymore. The shit is pointless. It's pointless. It's like killing fucking zombies, man. You shoot one fucking zombie, and then you got 100 more sitting over there looking dumb as fuck. The shit is pointless. So I'm really trying to refrain from responding, trying to educate one person at a time. It takes too damn long. I'm going to let you guys educate them. The ones who know about the sport of boxing, you guys can educate them. I'm not wasting my time no more. I told you guys already, when it comes to Manny Pacquiao, the excuses that people make for ducking are ridiculous. Now let me bring up Manny Pacquiao again. I want to talk about rematches. If you guys have never thought about this, at least 70% of the time, rematches are a result of a previous controversial decision, right? At least 70%. You can even say 80%, but let's stick with 70. If you don't believe me, let me give you some examples. Lennox Lewis versus Holyfield. Rematch. Why? Controversy. Roy Jones versus Montel Griffin. Rematch. Why? Controversy. Barrera versus Morales 1. Controversy. Rematch. If I didn't say it already, Peterson versus Khan. Controversy. Rematch. Or at least it was scheduled to be rematch until Peterson failed his test. I can go on and on doing this shit. The majority of fights that take place in a rematch is because of a previous controversy. So to sit here and say Manny Pacquiao doesn't have to fight Bradley again because the whole world knows that Manny Pacquiao won the fight, it is very, very, very hypocritical. Very hypocritical. Because like I said before in many other videos, you kill that excuse when you forget the fact that Manny Pacquiao was going to fight Cotto in a rematch. A guy that everybody knows he beat the dog liver out of. How do you explain that? How do you explain that, guys? You give me one excuse, then okay, he debunked that excuse. Now I got to come up with another excuse. That's how these cats think. That's how these cats think. Right? Typically, when a person is robbed, 9 times out of 10, 99.99% times, the fighter who was robbed wants the rematch. The guy who got the gift decision, who you guys say really knows that he lost, and he should just admit that he lost, usually that is the person who does not want a rematch. That's the person who usually doesn't want the rematch. I mean, look at all the examples. Khan wanted the rematch more than Peterson did when they fought. When Lewis got knocked out by Hasim Rahman, he wanted that rematch more than Rahman wanted it. When Pernell Whitaker got robbed against Chavez in the 90s, who was the one that wanted a rematch and who was the one who didn't want the rematch? Whitaker wanted the rematch. Chavez wanted no part of a rematch. Okay? Every single time a person gets a gift decision, he's usually the one that does not want a rematch. You look at the Brandon Rios versus Abril fight. Everybody says that Abril was robbed, right? Who you think didn't want the rematch? Brandon Rios didn't want the rematch. But they criticized Floyd Mayweather. When Floyd Mayweather was in the exact same situation that Brandon Rios was in, where he got a decision that some people believe he did not deserve, how did Floyd Mayweather act in those situations? Floyd Mayweather said, fuck it, let's do it again. And he did that shit right away, and he beat the guy decisively. He had Castillo sitting on this stool telling his trainers, I can't get this guy. I can't get him. He's too slick. I can't get this guy. I can't solve the puzzle. He's sitting in his corner saying this shit. You go back and watch the fight. Go back and watch the fight. You'll see it. So come on, guys. Let's stop making these ridiculous ass excuses. Because that's exactly what they are, excuses. You know, I will respect the Marquez fans if you guys just come out and say, look, man, Bradley is he's a tough opponent. And I would prefer my guy not fight him at this stage in his career. You know, Bradley is young, he's athletic, et cetera, et cetera. If you were to say something like that, I would respect that. But to sit over here and make every dumbass excuse in the world is ridiculous. You got Adrian Broner out there who wants to fight him. We know that shit ain't going to happen. Even Marquez, I've even been talking to Marquez fans. Even Marquez fans knows that Broner would beat him. They know that. So that's really all I got to say on this shit, man. All I got to say on this shit. It's just natural that will be the next fight. Bradley beats Pacquiao, controversial. Manny Pacquiao ducks the rematch. He fights Marquez, he gets knocked the fuck out. What is the next fight that you would think would be a no-brainer to make? It would be that fight. And one more thing too, guys. You guys don't think like promoters. Don't sit here and talk about how the fight will be boring, there would be no money, because if that was the case, Bob Arum would not be trying to make the fight. Because Bob Arum, he tried to make that fight when Manny Pacquiao was thinking about fighting a guy that he already beat easy, Miguel Cotto. The backup plan was going to be that Marquez fights Bradley. So if the promoter is trying to make the fight, it goes against everything that you fans are talking about on the internet and everywhere else. And not only that, but why is it when Bob Arum was originally trying to make this Marquez-Bradley fight before Pacquiao decided who he was going to fight, how come Nacho wasn't saying then, we're not going to fight this guy Bradley? How come he didn't say it then? You know why now, right? Now we know why. He didn't say it then because now he has more leverage to where his fighter is on top right now. His fighter is pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. He just knocked out Bradley. He just knocked out Pacquiao. Now he's on top. But Nacho looks at it like, now if we fight Bradley, we don't want to lose this high that we're on. This is what Nacho meant when he used his exact words and said, I want to put Marquez in there with an opponent that the Mexican fans can be proud of. What does that mean? What's the translation? It basically means I want to put my fighter in there with somebody who we can win, who we can beat, guaranteed, hands down. No doubt about it, we win. And Bradley is not that type of fighter. Bradley is not that type of fighter. Think about it. Like I said before, Tim Bradley is top 10 pound for pound best fighter in the world on everyone's list. In some cases, he's actually above Manny Pacquiao. How would that not look fantastic? The guy Pacquiao lost to on paper, you go out there and you annihilate him, and then you retire beating Bradley and Pacquiao. How does that not look perfect on your resume? Go ahead, y'all. Y'all go ahead and send y'all messages making a million excuses all you want. But we all know the truth. That's all I got to say about this shit. I'm on to the next one, y'all.